the moment we can safely say Sengezo Chabangu, you would understand that it is at the center of Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa's plan to extend his term of office up to 2030. In fact, the document that was noted down by Professor Moyo, that is Jonathan Moyo, as well as his colleague, you would understand that that document actually the strategy was to use the CCC for Sengezo Chabangu to bring it to Parliament as if that they are the ones who produced that particular document, which is in fact calling for Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa's office to be extended from 2028 to actually 2035. That is what they are advocating for, but it remains a slogan at the moment, the issue of the extension of the term of office for Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. And in that document, they are also pushing on a similar document for Emerson Dambudzo. They are pushing for also MPs as well as the councillors, rather, their term of office to be also extended as well. So they will benefit technically, and this MP who is actually saying this is what they are pushing for, that is Charles Moyo, the CCC MP, specifically standing for CCC at Mpopoma constituency. Is part of the MPs. We saw them going to the farm of Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, chanting the 2030 term extension for Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. And also in the initial document that was going to sail through Parliament, he is one of the CCC MPs who was representing CCC as a political party. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. So Charles Moyo, in one of the publications in Zimbabwe, has actually indicated that as Citizens Coalition for Change, that is led by Sengezo Chabangu, they would be pushing for the extension of the term of Mnangagwa. In fact, he calls it, they will be pushing for postponement of elections in 2028. This is, now you should never view these as isolated from ZANU-PF. The current Citizens Coalition for Change, in its nature at the moment, it should be perceived as an extension of ZANU-PF. So, how Mnangagwa intended to bring the 2030 term extension, he did not want to bring it through ZANU-PF because he understood that in ZANU-PF there was so much opposition, and at the center that opposition is retired General Chwenga. It is also some military chefs as well as the war veterans. They were not going to allow this 2030 term extension. So what was the plan now for Mnangagwa and the Zwikanandas? They were going to actually say this term extension is not a product of ZANU-PF, but it is a product of the Citizens Coalition for Change. The opposition has seen, the de facto ZANU-PF opposition has seen that Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa is doing well in terms of pushing his political work. As such, he should continue as the president. These people have been bought. It is clear that they have been bought. How do you explain the very same Charles Mpofu is on record actually praising ZEC for conducting, he says, reasonable elections in 2023. In fact, he called them credible elections, even though multilateral institutions overwhelmingly said the Zimbabwean elections fell short of the Zimbabwe constitution. In simple terms, they were unconstitutional. And in that regard, the party that was robbed was the opposition. But because this MP won the Mpopoma Pelandaba constituency, to him that is what matters. That is why I've said these MPs treat being an MP not as a service for the people, but they treat being an MP as a job that will eventually bring income. That is why I think under normal circumstances, it has to be reviewed on who becomes an MP. Not everybody should, because being an MP is a technical job. You need to be heavily involved in terms of creating the laws of the land. And the laws of the land, number one, doesn't have to be created by people who did not even complete O level, who don't have 5 ordinary levels. How will you debate in parliament without even, in fact, 5 ordinary levels is actually a very lowest standard. In my view, I think the highest qualification should be at least advanced level or a university degree, because that is what is happening in other progressive countries. So you would not have MPs that will go to parliament to sleep. You will not have MPs that have a prize. You would not have MPs that perceive being an MP as a job. And also the other quality of someone to be an MP, they should choose people with established businesses to be members of parliament. People who are doing well in their lives, who are able to actually take care of themselves. Not what we are seeing in Zimbabwe. These CCC MPs, it's quite clear. These were hungry people, and when they noticed that ZANU-PF allowed them to win in their constituencies, when Nelson Chamisa was dumping the party, they would say, I would rather remain, because this means, and some of them have confessed. I mean, how do you explain a scenario whereby if your leader leaves the party, you remain in that particular political party? If your leader says the party has been contaminated, you remain in that particular party. How do you explain such a scenario? It can only translate to one thing: MPs that have a price that can be easily bought. And this is what we have seen actually happening at the moment. Look at how embarrassing they are. I don't think Charles Moyo is reflecting the views of the people of Mpopoma. I have lived in Mpopoma. I know the guy. I mean, he used to fight with Patricia Chabalala a lot, this guy. And he didn't like her because he was absolutely terrible in his constituents. As a councillor, I know him as a councillor, by the way, because he started as a councillor. So he has been extremely terrible, and that is why he has a prize. That is why ZANU-PF has actually bought him to push this unconstitutional postponing of elections. Where have we ever had a country where we have a constitution, people are speaking about postponing elections? How? Because that is what the people of Zimbabwe actually spoke loud and clear and said every 5 years we need to have elections and a fresh government that is elected by the people, even though ZANU-PF have been standing on the way of the people. But people in 2013 spoke loudly and clear. How then do you explain these fools who are supposed to be defending actually the will of people, being the ones saying we should postpone elections? Who are you? I mean, it shows that we don't have MPs who are pushing the interest of the people. And also, this is how actually 2030 would be brought, especially to those. This Mnangagwa wants to use this de facto ZANU-PF CCC as actually a scapegoat. Just imagine when he makes a presentation and say, no, this is not what we want as a party. It has been brought by the Citizens Coalition for Change. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time